It's that. Okay, so today's class we're dedicating. Okay, we're going to pass it around and okay. So first of all, we want to thank Frady Yukowski for sponsoring today's class. And second. And she asked the sponsor as a schos for true healing for all who are hurting physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, and spiritually, and a special bracha to Frady for Psuras Teves for good news. Okay, and I'll pass it around.
And for Ilu Nishma Shlomo Zalman ben Yontiv Lipman. His yard site is today Dalit Shvat.
And for Shalema for
Dina Bas Hanachaya, you should have a complete recovery. No more treatments, no more nothing. Just routine life. Routine life.
Okay. Okay, so basically we're saying that Eliezer, who was Abraham's most faithful servant. If you look in Parshas Chayei Sarah, you will not find his name even once. He comes to Besuel's house, and Besuel says, "Come and eat with us." And he says, "No, I cannot eat until I tell you what I'm here for." His mission is obviously the priority. And he says, Eved Avraham Anochi. I am Avram's servant, but I should say it differently. The servant of Avraham is who I am. Anochi comes last, and he is completely and totally dedicated and devoted to his mission and to Avram. And so much so that you will not even find his name in the parsha written once. How do we even know that it was Eliezer? How do we even know about that was his name or anything about him? I'm saying, how do we know that that's who it was? The only way we know is because Rashi tells us his name. And Rashi says as follows: when he's telling Besuel the whole story that Avram is so wealthy and Avram sent him to find a wife for Yitzchak, he says that I said to Avraham, what if because Avram specifically said, go to my birthplace and bring a girl from there. He wanted a girl from his family. And Eliezer said, I said to my master, what if she doesn't want to come back with me? And Avram said that Hashem, I'm going to send an angel before you to pave the way, right? And that you will be successful. And if it's not Rivka, you'll bring back someone else. But there was more than one option of girls that he could have brought back. And I'm going to send a malach before you, and you're going to be successful. Now, the word is ulai. Maybe she won't want to come with me. But in the Torah, the vav is missing from ulai. So if you take out the vav from ulai, what is it? Elai. All of a sudden, there's a me. For 1 second, there was a me. Why? Because Eliezer had his own daughter to marry. And he said, maybe Yitzchak should marry my daughter. And Avram said, no, it can't be. This is not going to work out. It's not going to be a good shidduch because I am blessed and you are cursed. What does that mean? The second that there's ego, you have a mission. The second you mix in your personal life, your personal needs, even if it's a shidduch for your daughter, all of a sudden when there's ego is cursed. So long as he is Eved Avram Anochi, the servant of Avram is who I am. Anochi comes last. It doesn't say Anochi Eved Avram. He completely and totally did not have his own identity, and to the extent they don't even know his name. And that's his greatness. The more bittul, the more of an Eved that you are, the more significant you are. But the second that your ego mixes in, then you become completely and totally insignificant. I'm going to see how that is.
Should I wait for my question till then?
No, go ahead, ask.
How do we take this idea and put it into a real life where life is hard and therefore we're dealing with that stuff, but you have to take care of yourself. You have to sometimes see yourself as your own ritzinus as someone. Maybe you don't. I'm questioning. Don't you sometimes have to see it as your own ritzinus, your own wants as a thing, or else like
everything has to be with the mindset of, I'm here to serve Hashem.
You're fulfilling yourself to serve.
Exactly. So I say Kertzoncha Kertzono. Oh, sorry. Speak over you. I say Kertzoncha Kertzono, Kadesh Yase, Kertzono Kertzoncha.
Yeah.
But you have to make all of your will. If it's something that's not, that something Hashem wants, then
Give me an example.
What are you
Hashem
trying to
something
say?
that's anti-Hashem.
I'll tell you very, very
Practical.
practical. Okay. So as we discussed earlier, I said that my daughter's bas mitzvah is Zimrat Hashem planned for this Sunday. And then my husband, or someone reached out to me. You think I know the weather? I'm not, So someone reached out to me. I really want to come to the bas mitzvah, but they're expecting so much snow, and if there's snow, I'm not going to be able to come. Okay, and I'm hearing this from a few people, and then someone said like 8 to 12 inches or something like that. Okay, so I sent my husband I copy and paste the message, and to my husband, and then to my daughter, he overhears that there's expected to be a snowstorm. And this was yesterday after I came back from the class. And she's like, Ma, what's going to be? I really wanted it on my birthday. And because of the Tanya, very calmly, I said, Shira, why are we having a bas mitzvah? We're having a bas mitzvah for Hashem, to bring the beauty and the warmth of Yiddishkeit to women. We're going to be making tambourines to greet Mashiach. The only reason why we're doing this is for Hashem. We're on Hashem's team. We're serving Hashem. And therefore, it's not that I want a bas mitzvah on Sunday and Hashem, how could you do this to me and make it so hard for me and maybe have to change all my plans and redo the invitation and have to call everyone and change it and all that work. It's not that I have one agenda and Hashem has another agenda and Hashem is more powerful, so he's going to get his way. No, it's not like I want one thing and Hashem wants something else. That is the opposite. That is the opposite of the truth, because as soon as I'm separate from Hashem, besides, we won't talk about the fact that could be, in a very small measure, idol worship. That there's a Hashem and there's other power. There's a power of snow. There's a power of this, power of that. No, the only power is Hashem. The only power is Hashem.
what about validating her also, though?
Yes, so I said to her. So basically, I said, we're doing this bas mitzvah as servants of Hashem, and Hashem knows when is the best time for your bas mitzvah. And there was, and you know what? Nobody got nervous, and if we'll change it, we'll change it, and whatever it is, but it's without the anxiety, without the worry, and even before
Self-care.
Right.
it's all. Why do I need the self-care?
Not
It's
self-care.
It's to serve.
Here for being Hashem so that I could.
yes, that I could serve Hashem. Everything has to be reframed. And then I'm in the car on the way home from the class, and my daughter Mushka sends me a message. She says, Ma, do you want to hear my Hashgacha Pratis disaster story? So I said, Mushka, my daughter. I'm like, she's very. I'm like, okay, like, oh my gosh, like, what just happened? So I call her back. She says, Ma, everything's resolved, but here's my story. I came home from work. I took off my lace top delicate sheitel, and it just split. The top just split.
Oh, no.
And she's like, what am I supposed to do? And then she said, and you know what? All of a sudden I remembered Hashgacha Pratis, when she got married, she got 2 sheitels. One which she has been wearing every single day for the past 3 years. And the second one was never finished, was never cut, was never this, was never that. She never wore it. This past Shabbos, she came to us for Shabbos. And that whenever she comes for Shabbos, by Sunday morning, her husband's teaching. So they're not ever here on a Sunday. But this past Sunday, so happens to be Hashgacha Pratis. There was an off Shabbos, and her husband did not have work. And she took the sheitel on Sunday to someone in Lakewood who was going to take out here over here and put in here over here and make it wearable. So I remember that I gave that sheitel in Lakewood this past Sunday. So I called the sheitel macher and I said, is it ready? And she said, yes, it's ready. And then I asked her, do you think you could fix my lace top sheitel and wash and set it and have it ready for Sunday for my sister's bas mitzvah? And she said, yes, perfect timing, because Sunday I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks. So yes, I could do it. My son-in-law I didn't speak to her today, but the plan was that my son-in-law would leave Morristown at 6 a.m., drive to Lakewood, and be there by 7:30 a.m. to pick up the shaitel and give the other shaitel so that she could, so that she to bring it home for her in time for work. Because could you imagine? Could you imagine if she would send her principal a message, dear principal, I'm very sorry I can't come to work today because I don't have a shaitel to wear. And our custom is that we don't go outside the house without a shaitel. So like
Even like a hat or.
nothing. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So there would be no way for her to go to work. What are the chances for 3 years that wig was sitting in her house? She did nothing with it. 3 years.
And
And
she got to work.
No wear a hat or tussles then,
out of the house.
just a
Really?
In the house, you could wear whatever you
What
tahol.
is that for?
The reasoning the reasoning why the Rebbe wanted us to wear shaitel outside of the house is because if you go to, I'm sure there's more than whatever. There's a lot of reasons. First of all, the Rebbe wanted women to be beautiful. Number one.
Slides
I like
that the Rebbe, there was a time when shaitels were coming out.
Yes.
Free, that people that wear a hat might, like, it was like still weird to cover your hair back then. So people that wear a hat, like if they're in like a place where they don't feel comfortable, they would just pull out their hair. But if you're wearing a shaitel, then your hair will always stay covered. That's what I think.
Right. That's true. I was just going to say that. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but what about,
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do?
So anyway, so what I'm saying is, I said to Mushka, I am not surprised. I said, why are you wearing a shaitel? Because you're a servant of Hashem. And why are you going to teach? Because you're a servant of Hashem. So if you're aligned with Hashem and what you're doing is for Hashem, of course Hashem is going to figure out a way. You know, Hashgacha Prat is that exactly the week that you need the shaitel. That's when you should do it. I'm saying for 3 years. I'm not talking 3 days. For 3 years, she didn't do anything about it. And I said, because when you're an Eved, then you're significant. And we need you at work to teach these kindlach. And therefore, you're gonna have a shaitel to wear somehow, by some way. So if I'm an Eved, then I'm very significant. But if it's about me and my identity and my pride and my ego and how much successful I am, then you're nothing. You're nothing. So here is a joke. So there's a Hasidus, it's called Nevarda. Help me pronounce
Not
it.
Hasidah,
Oh, it's a Muslim. Okay, sorry.
Actually, the opposite.
The opposite. Okay.
Want to make sure.
Oh.
Plug that.
Yeah, so far so good. Thank you for asking.
There's a Hasidus called Nedvarna. I don't know if
Varda,
that's
Varda.
Nedvarda because I'm Muslim.
Okay, fine. So you see, okay. So thank you. So I don't know if they still practice what they used to practice.
There is a shul in Lakewood that's still very much alive, and a speaker that gives a class every day on a hotline. It's a whole lot.
Okay, so you'll tell me. It'll tell me fine. Okay, so as you said, it's a Musar, more of a Musar movement. So what they would do is they would try to make themselves feel very low. So for example, they would go into a butcher shop and say, could I buy a screwdriver?
Right.
Just so that people should say you're out of your mind, just for that to bring down their ego. Or they would go into a suit store and say, oh, give me a nice suit. This is my size. To get a very nice suit. And then say, oh, how much is it? I only have $2 to pay.
They drove them nuts.
They drove themselves nuts.
They just, yes.
They drove people nuts.
Right. But the point is,
Yell at them.
the people should yell at them. People should be upset with them. Yeah. Which reminds me, I saw this clip. This guy walks in and he says, I want to see your cars. So he says, do you want to see the cars or do you want to buy a car? He says, oh, I just want to see the cars. He says, okay. He takes him to the street and he says, you could see the cars. When you want to buy a car, come back in. I have to provide for my family, So that was their way. So one of them, the two of these men are having a conversation. And one says, ich bin garnished. I'm nothing. So the other guy says, ich bin garnished. I'm nothing. So then there's a third guy that's sitting on the bench in the shul, and he didn't really work on himself. He was just he was a simple guy. He didn't do any major work. And he says, ich bin a garnished. I'm also a nothing. So the first two guys, they chuckle. And they said, look who thinks he's a nothing.
Oh.
So to be a nothing takes work. you know? So the Tanya, the Tanya that we're going to learn today in the couple of minutes that we have is to is first to explain to us how nothing we are. And when we're on our own, and when it's about me and my identity, then we're taka a nothing. And as soon as we're ready to give up, as soon as we're ready to give up our identity, our name, our ego, our our good feeling of when it's me, then you're nothing. But when you're Eved Hashem, then you're as significant as can be. And where do we see this? Where do we see this? We actually see this in this week's Parsha. In this week's Parsha, we have the mitzvah of sanctifying the new moon. And sanctifying the new moon, actually, what it does is, it actually sanctifies all of time, every minute of time. It's not just when I sanctify the new moon, then if I know when Rosh Chodesh is, then I know when the Yom Tovim are, and then the Yom Tovim are holy days. And it's so important to know when Rosh Chodesh is, because if I don't know when Pesach is, and I don't know when I can't eat chametz, then I don't know, and then if I don't eat chametz, I'm saying if I eat chametz on Pesach, then there's a problem of kares, of being excommunicated. So thank you so much for coming. So it's very, very important to know when the first day of the month is, to know when to observe the holidays, because let's be positive, to eat matzah today is not a mitzvah. To eat matzah on Pesach is a very important mitzvah. So all the mitzvahs that have to do with all the holidays, it's extremely important to know when the right time to observe it. And all that is dependent on when Rosh Chodesh is. So sanctifying the new moon, not only does it sanctify the day of Rosh Chodesh, not only does it sanctify the holidays, but it also sanctifies all the days in between, because the Beis Din had to know not just what the moon is supposed to look like on Rosh Chodesh, but they had to know what the moon has to look like on every single day of the month. And not only did they have to know the cycle of the moon, they also had to know the cycle of the sun, because we have to have Pesach in the spring. So so every few years you have to add a leap year. So the Beis Din had to know very well the cycle of the moon, the cycle of the sun, and also the Ketores. We read about it every single day in davening Karbanes. The Ketores was incense and was prepared every single year, 365 portions of Ketores, which goes according to the solar calendar. So so everything, the whole solar system and the whole lunar system, everything at every single moment of time is all sanctified. Is all sanctified when we do this mitzvah of Kiddush Levana. And Kiddush Levana is about sanctifying time, and time comes before space. Because if I'm making a salad, for example, right? So first I have the vegetables in my fridge, then I take it out, and then I chop it up. So if you come into the kitchen now, and then in 5 minutes from now, and 10 minutes after that, then things are always changing. So there has to be a past, a present, a future. So in order for things to happen, there first has to be time. Like you wake up in the morning, all you have is time. You wake up in the morning, I have a day, and then I could fill it with things. What am I going to do during this day? Time is the first creation. Time comes before space. And from Kiddush Levana, from one little thing of based in declaring, sanctifying the moon, it sanctifies all of time. And it teaches us that what's our mission? Our mission is to sanctify things. First time, and so time from the mitzvah of sanctifying time, we learn about what our mission is, that every single thing that we do, even eating lunch and all the self-care.
He was creating the concept of Yom also.
You need to have
The
time to have
concept of
space.
time. You have to have time to have space.
That's a starting point, and then
Right. And we say that Hashem is not different before he created the world and after he created the world.
Right.
So time was the first creation.
Zoning, so I think that's the hardest thing that I know.
Yeah.
Last year.
Every yard travels in 1 year. It's really
so consistent. So every yard to every year, the neshama gets Aliyah. There has to be something
No, if you ever like try to understand, like you always
gotta
come
remember,
until is like, there's no concept.
Well, we are time
We
and
see
space.
before, after, we see a
So
sequence.
for
there's no
Hashem,
sequence.
there's no limit of time. Haya haydan yeh ke'echad.
Right.
But for us, time, there is past, present, and future. But in any case, what we're saying is that from this mitzvah of Kiddush Levana, we learn about crystallizes what our mission is, and so in temple times, the Beis Din sanctified it according to witnesses. But that only applied then. Now we have a calendar, but now we have Rosh Chodesh, and Rosh Chodesh is holy,
Especially for the woman.
especially for the women. It's actually exactly because if you don't
Woman
work.
values time. No.
But Rosh Chodesh is a holy day, so now we already know from the calendar in advance. But we do bench the new month. We do bench the new month on Shabbos. Here come the kitties. On Shabbos before the month, and we announce when Rosh Chodesh is and how many chalakim. Everything like that. But basically, this mitzvah flows our entire mission, which is that when I do self-care, that all the self-care that I do, it's all using all these physical things, and I'm elevating it and making it holy, for Hashem's sake. So, which basically means that with
It's really stretching the manicure.
everything, but why would there be?
You know an example?
Yeah.
Steve breakfast before I daven. And the whole davening, I was shaking and
That's very
waiting
connected.
to finish
That's
davening.
very connected. Makes
Well,
sense.
I started making a new rule. First, I'm gonna eat my egg. And you know what? I daven so much better.
Right, yeah.
So I'm eating an egg literally so that I
That's
daven.
very specific, but how do you get the manicure in there?
Because you have Hashem when you're there.
How do you
Talk
feel?
about Hashem
How do
when
you
I'm
feel
there. No, I don't
after-
wanna talk about
How do you
Hashem.
feel after
when
that
I'm
manicure? How does it make you feel?
No, like what?
Why are you getting the
I
manicure?
feel
Why are you getting
I
the
feel like
manicure?
a woman.
Why are
Right.
you getting it?
The Bible
So you
said
have
I
to
wanted
keep
women
up
to be
with-
beautiful.
Right.
Why are you
So
getting
There you go.
the
You say you have to get deeper into everything you do.
It wouldn't, if there wasn't a way for me to elevate it, it wouldn't be here. It wouldn't be here. But even the most, and when I started writing poetry for Tanya, whatever it is, and it was hard, and I was going to give up. And I was speaking to someone, and she said, when you could take Hasidus and put it even into a poem, that's you're spreading the well springs of Torah like all the way down to a poem. Yes, figure out how, that's the homework, how I could use a manicure for serving Hashem. It could be that I have a neshek, an Erev Shabbos Kodesh in my pocketbook that I might meet someone that'll give it out to them. It could be that while I'm getting my nails, done, right? Well, it takes half an hour. I don't know how long it takes, right? So while I'm listening to a Torah class. I would never. Okay, my husband. If I'll be a better mother, so Dayenu. Anyway,
Gotta figure it out.
so Taka, we're so significant because Hashem is counting on us to make this world holy.
How to help people Shabbos times when I have a manicure, I don't like to like this to my skin. I don't think I'll fit on Shabbos.
Okay, there you go.
It literally can save me from Chol Shabbos.
Okay, amazing.
It saves me from Chol Shabbos. After when I have a fresh manicure, then I don't like to like this to my skin, like take off my cuticles, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't
And
play around with it.
don't play around with it because it's like a fresh manicure and it makes me not be Chol Shabbos, literally. Like
Okay.
really get my manicures Thursday, Friday, then I can have it in mind. You know, a good idea.
Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
Mission accomplished. So basically, Hashem created this world and created us, and we are so significant because our mission is that every single physical thing that we come in contact with, that we should elevate it and reveal reveal Ein Od Milvado, that there's nothing other than Hashem. So we're so significant and we're so important, and this world is where it's at. And this is all true when I am Hashem's servant, when I'm on Hashem's team, when I'm one with Hashem, then I'm very significant. But really, if I look objectively at this world, what is this world like? This world is like a projector. If I project an image on the wall with a projector, right? The second I pull out the plug, where does the image go? It's completely and totally gone. The image, every single second, is being beamed into existence because the projector is plugged in. And the same is with this world. If Hashem was to stop saying the 10 ma'amaros, the 10 sayings, then this world would just cease to exist. It's not a painting on the wall that I have to remove. It's just gone. It's just gone because it's being existed at every single moment. So nothing has its own power. Nothing has its own power. Hashem is recreating the world every single second. And so you could say, okay, I understand that the world is insignificant. The world is insignificant. Hashem is making it exist every single second. If Hashem stops saying Tamamaris, the world is gone. Gone, just like you pull out the plug, the image from the projector is gone. But then I could think that maybe the Ma'amaris, maybe the words have some kind of power. So at the end of this chapter, we prove that the words have no power. How do we prove it? We have to, Hashem gave us a gift because we're created in the image of Hashem, that we could look at our own body and we could understand things about Hashem. So what is one word for you? And we touched upon this last time. What is one word for you compared to your power of speech, which happens to be infinite?
Speech is infinite.
Your power of speech is infinite. And even if a person passes away, the problem is that the keli is gone.
No, not only that, it says that when you learn a person's Torah, the person that was nifter, his svasayim, they move in the caver. That's what it says.
Wow.
You know, no one ever heard of this? When you learn, like when you're learning the Rebbe's Torah, there's a lashon. I don't know if it means literal. I'm assuming it doesn't. That his lips are moving in the caver when you're learning his Torah.
Wow.
What's a grave? I'm sorry. There's what's the lashon? No one knows it.
I heard that with David Amal. When you say Tehillim, David says.
Svasayim, something that there's a.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
So it's infinite.
So the power of speech is actually infinite. And even if a person is not a tzaddik, the fact that the person
The lashon is sifsav merachshos b'kever. Sifsav merachshos b'kever.
There you go.
Brought down. Where's it brought down?
Tell me.
Tommy, where's it brought
I didn't hear.
down?
I'm sorry.
What
Oh,
else is
she's
on the
on
phone?
the phone.
I'm just asking you. Should
Oh.
ask people
I'm
that
not sure. I've heard it in a lot of places.
In a lot of places.
it's brought down.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know exactly where it's brought down from, but I've heard it on different shiurim that I've heard that when you want to connect, when you want to connect to the Rebbe by learning his Torah, you know, we're connecting. And then I heard this.
No, this is not. This is anyone that you learn the teaching.
No, but you're asking me where it's written. I'm trying to remember, but I did hear it I went to a shiur and he quoted this, Rabbi Zilberberg. I'll ask him the next time I see him, but it's something like that. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So really the power of speech is infinite, but if a person passes away, then the problem is that their body is not functioning. But really in potential, you have an infinite amount of words. Now, and so one word, what is one word or one sentence compared to, how significant is it compared to your infinite power of speech? Now we're going to go up a step on the ladder. What comes before speech? Before speech comes machshava, which is thought.
Math is infinite. Even your eating is like infinite, guys.
Yeah.
Math feels infinite.
Above speech,
Yeah.
above speech is thought. Now, now in thought, there's also words. You think in words, but the words in thought are more spiritual. They're more refined than the physical words that come out of your mouth. So what is one spoken word compared to the power of the words in your mind?
Power of thinking, basically.
And the power, thank you so much for coming. And the power of thinking is also infinite. Now go up the ladder. What's above thought? Above thought is feelings. And you know what? In feelings, there are no words. And your feelings, love, fear, whatever it might be, raw emotion over there, where raw emotion, there is no words. It could be eventually expressed in words, but it's not defined by words. And the proof is that if I love you, there's many different ways that I could say it. It's not defined by certain words. I could express my feeling in many, many different ways. And then there's something even before feelings, and that is called seichel, and that is called awareness. Because first I have to have awareness that I love you or I want this. First I have to have an awareness that this thing is good. And an awareness, that first flash of chachma, that first flash of in your seichel, that also there's no words. So what is one word? How is one word or one sentence significant compared to your power of speech, which is infinite, your power to think, which is infinite, your emotions, which doesn't even have words, and your awareness, again, which doesn't have words? It's completely and totally insignificant. And when you're talking about one word compared to infinity, there are two different types of infinity. There's two different types. There's something that's infinite in quantity, and there's infinite in quality. Infinite in quantity means as follows. What's $1 compared to a person who has an infinite amount of money?
Quite insignificant.
It's quite insignificant, right?
It depends on what you're measuring. Money.
Money, yeah.
So the dollar is insignificant. Okay, but I have to go back for a second. Okay, first, a dollar compared to someone who's a billionaire. A dollar compared to someone who's a billionaire, you could say it's very insignificant, but it still has some significance because the billionaire, why is he a billionaire? Because he has $1 billion. So of course the dollar is very, very minute, but it has some,
Of the dollars, so.
it has some value.
With the dollar. Or the billion.
Right, like it's like one drop in the ocean. Is one drop in the ocean significant?
Made up of the drop.
So it has to be, it has to have some tiny bit of significance.
Right.
But now if I take a dollar and I compare it to someone who has an infinite amount of dollars, right? Then it's insignificant because I have an infinite amount of dollars. True that the dollar is insignificant, but the concept of money, the concept of dollars still is significant. And so that's what it means. So infinity could be measured in quantity. In quantity, right? What's $1 compared to infinite amount of dollars? In quantity, it's completely insignificant. But then when you talk about Hashem, what's an infinite amount of dollars to Hashem? Hashem's above dollars. Right?
Nothing.
So that is called that is over there. It's the insignificance is of not just a quantity of not just in quantity, but it's also in quality, because Hashem is completely above. Hashem is completely above money altogether, and the same is true. So now so if our word, we're a human being, our word is completely and totally insignificant in quantity and quality compared to my essence, compared to my emotions, compared to my seichel, how much more so the Eibishter, right? So 10, what is 10 utterances compared to the essence of God? It's completely and Hashem is completely and totally above it. And the whole concept of words, b'chlal, is just something that we have so that we can understand the drop of Hashem.
Isn't there a concept of Hashem's breath is very significant, right? Because that's the whole basis of the beginning of Tanya was the breath that he put into it, right? So isn't word breath like there's something that Hashem gives off that is very significant? In fact, it's him. Why are the words not him?
You're saying something very, 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 very deep. You're saying something very, very deep. First of all, the fact that Hashem blew, the entire world Hashem created with speech, and Adam Hashem blew. And blowing comes from the inside, which is much deeper than speech, 100%. But in any case, it's Hashem's speech. It's Hashem's breath. So everything is Hashem. The only thing that is Hashem. So that's what I'm saying. We are.
The words are like this table.
The only
It's
way
like
this table exists is because of Hashem. Hashem is because of Hashem's words that's making this table exist.
Hashem.
The Torah,
It's Hashem's thoughts, His essence.
the Torah is Hashem's will. And
By Raisa, Yisrael Chad Hu. Like there has to
Hashem,
be a certain oneness, the Torah and Hashem and the Yidden.
understand, the Hashem create Bishvil Beis Reishis Nivra Olam, right? The world was created for for two things.
Hashem.
The purpose of the world, why was the world created? It was created for Torah and for the Yidden. So this in the parsha, in this concept of Kiddush HaChodesh, of sanctifying the new moon, we also learn about the power of Torah. Basically, Torah overrides the creation of the world because Torah is the reason for the world.
The blueprint of
The
it.
blueprint.
Yeah. And we learned about this in the Parsha class. Basically, we learned that a very interesting example in the Gemara, that a girl, if there was some kind of accident and she lost her virginity, she fell off a tree, I don't know, something happened. Up until the age of 3, the hymen could grow back. Once a girl is over the age of 3, then it can't. And that affects halacha because she's not considered to be a virgin, which would come up in the ksuba or whatever it is. After the age of 3, you can't go back. What happens if a girl, her birthday is Yud Adar? Yud Adar, she turned 3. Tesvav Adar, she fell off a tree, and she's already 3. She fell off a tree, and now the hymen broke, and she's considered to be medically, physically, she's not a virgin, right? Then what happens is the end of the month, Beis Din says, oh, this year is going to be a leap year, and we're adding another Adar. So now, technically, she's not 3 until Yud Adar Beis. So although medically, if you went to the doctor and the doctor said it's broken, it's finished, it's not going to grow back, right? And then what happens in between? The Beis Din declares that there's going to be another month. So technically now she reverts to being 2. And Torah controls nature, and the hymen will grow back. Torah has more power over nature. And I shared this example about my son Shmuel Isaac, who's about to turn 10 on Rachel's birthday, Beis Adar. So when he was born 5.5 weeks early, and he failed his newborn hearing test. So they said to me, come to the hospital in 3 months and we'll do a test, whatever it is. And at that test, they told me that he has hearing loss. And they explained that in a baby's ear, I guess in everyone's ears, there's some kind of hairs that stand up. And Shmuel Isaac's ear, it was all crushed.
Oh, I remember that.
There's nothing that you could do about it. And he'll probably have to have hearing aids for the rest of his life. And that's it. But come back in a year. Come back come back in a few months, whatever, come back in a year. Anyway, so a whole time I'm taking care of this teeny tiny baby, and could he hear me? Could he not hear me? I don't know. Anyway, we come back to this appointment, and this appointment was in September. 1 month before, a little bit before, in August, my husband lost his tefillin that belonged to his great grandfather Moshe Garari, and the scribe who wrote it was the same scribe who wrote the tefillin of the Rebbe Rashab, which is the 5th Chabad Rebbe. It was very, very sentimental value. And it was in a suitcase which fell off a truck, and in Utah at a CT extreme trip. Anyway, so when he lost his tefillin, and it was on the day of my daughter's bas mitzvah, and that day my daughter had a swimming lesson and she was crying because she wanted to daven on her bas mitzvah. And it was a Friday, and I said, so you'll daven after, because she had a swimming lesson, and then she had day camp, and it was the day of her actual bas mitzvah. So she woke up late, and the choice, if she would do the swimming lesson, she wouldn't be able to daven until after camp. But she didn't want to push off daven because it was her bas mitzvah. So basically, and she was having a meltdown. I called my husband, and he said, honey, I cannot talk now. It was the first time in my married life my husband said he can't talk. I realized who knows what happened. But anyway, I canceled the swimming lesson. She davened, and I saw her sincerity about davening. And basically what was lost was the tefillin. And I took upon myself that I'm going to daven 2 Shemoneh Esrei a day at that point. So I increased tremendous davening. And then a week later, the tefillin was found and returned, whatever. But basically, there was a lot of davening happening in our family. We started to take davening very seriously. And anyway, we came to the appointment in shop with the baby, and you know what they do to keep the baby quiet? The baby has to be quiet so they could do the test. They blow bubbles. Like these big professors, they're blowing bubbles, you know? Anyway, and they said his hearing is 100% perfect. And they said that it's impossible. You could never take it back. Once the ears are crushed, how is it going to come back? It's impossible. They said that once they give a diagnosis, they can never take it back. And here is Shmuel Isaac, a miracle. Torah and davening and Hashem is more powerful than nature. And so we learned this all from Kiddush HaChodesh. So basically, this teaching, the parsha teaching, was all about was teaching us that this mitzvah of sanctifying the new moon, how it is the first mitzvah. Why is it the first mitzvah? Because there's three things. The first one I didn't say it, so I'll say very quickly. The first thing is that in the Torah, when it speaks about the sanctifying the new moon, there are 0 details. It just says sanctify the new moon, and Nisan is going to be the first month. It doesn't say that a cycle of a moon is 29 and a half days. It doesn't tell you what to do to add a leap year. Nothing. You need Torah Sheba'al Peh. This is the point in case. This is the mitzvah where we see that Torah Shebachsav and Torah Sheba'al Peh come together. You can't have the written Torah without the oral Torah. So that's the first lesson that we learn, that the power of the oral Torah, that it's not just enough to have the written Torah, but you need the oral Torah too, because otherwise you won't know anything about how the witnesses. It doesn't say anything. In the written Torah, it doesn't say witnesses have to come and when they have to come. It doesn't say anything. There's 0 details. They tell us that Torah Shebachsav on its own you can't just have Torah Shebachsav, but rather written Torah and oral Torah are one. It's the first lesson that we learn. The second lesson that we learn is that Torah from Kiddush Levana, because of the Beis has the power to add a month, add a day to a month, whatever it is, that and that they have that because from Kiddush Levana we learn that Torah has power over nature. And number 3, we learn that from Kiddush Levana that Torah not only has the power over nature, but also transforms nature. Because here you have a mitzvah of sanctifying the new moon, and what does it do? It sanctifies all of time. And it teaches us that our mission is to sanctify everything. So from Kiddush Levana we learn power of Torah Sheba'al Peh, and that we need Torah Sheba'al Peh with Torah Shebachsav. We need the oral Torah with the written Torah. That Torah is more powerful than the world, and Torah could transform the world, and that's why it's the first mitzvah.
On Sunday.
Love it.
You think like you're doing it for Hashem. What do you think? The weather person controls the thing or whatever the forecast? You already said it
wedding,
forward.
you're gonna change it. Different
I
weddings.
don't know. I'm not sure
Right.
now.
Like the
Okay,
wedding-
we'll leave it up to Hashem because we're doing on Hashem's team. Okay, do I have 2 minutes to?
You could get buses for people.
2 minutes. I just want to read the words in Tanya, so it should be a Tanya class. Thank you.
Because all the
This is all Tanya. This is all Tanya.
you just tell us where you're reading?
Yeah.
Huh?
So I'm at the end of chapter 20, and
Yeah, Machshava, is that where we're at?
yes, page 236. It's really very, very little to read inside. It's 2 pages. Okay. 236, section 4. For in thought, there's also letters and words, like in the garment of speech. Only in thought, those letters are more intangible and subtle. So we already started this last time. That's why it's like a middle of a thing. So basically, we were saying that we were comparing our word to the infinite power of speech, and now we're saying that above that, if you go up the ladder, then there's thought, thinking, and over there's also words, like in speech, but they're more subtle and they're more intangible. And now we're going up the ladder. What comes before thought? But this is not the case with the deep core, with your 10 powers. Your 10 powers, that's the source of your thought. And over
the emotion of the 10 powers, is that?
yes, because the 10 powers is thought, speech. The 10 powers is Chacham Bina Das, and then Chesed V'Or Tiferes Netzach Hod Yisod
Emotion.
Yes. So in your 10 powers, ve'ein b'hem b'chinas oisius hadayin. In your 10 powers, you don't even have it's before the emergence of letters. It's the source of your thought, but there's no words there. before an idea or feeling takes expression in the garment of thought. Okay, we're good? Okay. For example, when a feeling of love or desire initially falls into your heart, before it rises from the heart to the brain, to be contemplated, it doesn't have any tangible letters or words yet. It's just a plain desire and fervor of the heart for the thing that you crave. So what happens is before what's above thought is the feelings, the raw feelings, and over there are no words. Now there's something even before your emotions. Where did this desire come from that I even want this in the first place? There's an awareness, there's a recognition that something even is desirable in your chachma. When you are become aware that this thing is pleasant and desirable and that it's a good idea to acquire it and to connect to it. For example, to learn a certain a wisdom or to eat a particular delicacy. So first I have to have an awareness that this is a delicacy, that this is something good, this is something valuable to pursue. And then it's only after the yearning and craving already fell into your heart that this thing is desirable. So what happens? First, you have an awareness in your brain. Then you have a craving in your heart. And both the awareness in your brain and the craving in the heart, there are no words. Once I crave it in my heart, then it goes back to the brain. And over there, that's when words first emerge, more spiritual, more less tangible kind of words, where I start thinking, how can I get this thing that I desire? And then it goes from words in my thought to words from my mouth. I start thinking, how can I carry out my desire? How can I actually get a hold of that food or acquire that knowledge? It's only at this point, the second time that it comes into my brain, that I start, that words start forming in my mind. These letters of the thought being of each nation in their language in which they speak and contemplate all worldly things. So this is how the parak ends. This is how the parak ends. So we're basically saying that the world, because even our speech, we understand that how insignificant one word is. How much more so God's speech, how insignificant this world is, because it only comes from Hashem's speech, and we compared speech to speech and thought and emotion and awareness. So that's just in a person. Could you imagine how that plays out in Hashem, by Hashem? So of course, yes, the world is insignificant, and the words that He uses to recreate the world every single second is completely insignificant. And how is this all relevant to our discussion? Because the reason why we even started talking about this is because we're trying to understand Hashem's unity of Anochi Hashem Elokecha, which is what a Jew is ready to give up his life for. And when we realize, when we realize, if a challenge comes up in my life, or a desire, a temptation comes up in my life, and all of a sudden I realize how insignificant this this piece of this cheeseburger is, or
I
how.
just got a text. It looks like the blizzard is being canceled.
Oh.
Reschedule, like check the weather well.
Okay. So forget the cheeseburger. Basically what we're saying is the snow. Okay. So,
Well, that's real, she's working, it's not a struggle for me.
okay, fine. So,
And that's
so,
wonderful, right?
so
Something like,
anything that's a struggle. The struggle is that you're on your phone and you know you shouldn't be on the
Yes.
phone. You know you shouldn't be
Feel
watching
though is a
this.
struggle.
yeah.
Fila, okay.
Right.
And you know what? Actually, yesterday after I learned this Tanya, I was so proud of myself. I bought myself a planner, and I wrote down everything that I have to do. And I look at this. I look at the entire box was full, and I literally started shaking. I'm like, how in the world am I going to get this done? And you know what I did? I took the planner and I closed it. And you know what else I did? I took a siddur and I opened it. And I done from the beginning of Hareini till after Shemini Esrei, every single word. It took a half hour, 40 minutes, whatever it took. Because when you realize that nothing is significant, everything is nothing. Everything is absolutely nothing. The only thing that's something, the only thing that's significant is if it is one on Hashem's team. If it expresses Hashem, if it reveals Hashem, only then is it worth something. So we don't have to worry, and we don't have to have anxiety, and we don't have to be anxious, because all the big monsters that we're so afraid of, they're being projected on the wall. It's garnished. It's garnishment garnished. And the only thing that is significant is if you're doing something to serve Hashem. So you could take all your worries, you could write it down on a paper, you could write down all the things that have to happen, and it will or will not happen, whatever it is. But the only thing that is significant is Hashem. And when you're aligned with Hashem and on Hashem's team, everything's going to work out in the best possible way. And case in point, whatever, is that I came back from my Tanya. I told my kids, that they're home a whole week. And it's only the younger kids that are home. So it's not like, we weren't really, we didn't do anything. And I told the kids, Mommy's going to come at 3 o'clock. I don't have to pick up label till 4. I'm going to go to the toy store. Everyone could pick something small. And that way I felt at least that they could at least get out of the house. Problem is, I finished the Tanya class in Jackson and I look at the clock and it's 2:55. It takes me half an hour to get home. By the time I got home, it was 3:25 and there was no time. And to take a label, I wasn't going to do that. And I was like, I see these kids looking at me. They were home playing so nicely the whole day by themselves because mommy wasn't here. And all of a sudden, Hashem, I didn't think about it on Sunday. I didn't think about it on Monday. I didn't think about it on Tuesday. Popped in my head. Oh my gosh! I remember that a few months ago, someone posted on WhatsApp that in Ocean County Mall there's some kind of play place, and it popped into my head. I said, "Kids, get your shoes on. We're going." We went to pick up label at 4 o'clock. We came to Ocean County Mall. We got home almost by 8 o'clock at night. We got home 7:45. The kids had a total blast. They had so much fun. And label, he's 2. He's flying down the slide. It was like crazy. But I'm saying is, I put everything aside. I davened to Hashem, and it was the most amazing day. It was the most amazing day. It was the most amazing day for me, for my kids. And my kids felt that they had a great day, that their vacation wasn't compromised because mommy was out. And it was just amazing. I said, thank you, Hashem. When you're aligned with Hashem, you're serving Hashem. Hashem is just going to make everything just perfect.
So last week we spoke a lot about this. So my daughter got the flu over Shabbos, last Shabbos. And me, I'm very like, if my kid gets the flu, like no one could go I don't want anyone getting the flu. No one next to no one thing and ever. And I'm like a little bit, how do you say ummitzeigen in English? Tense. Not OCD. I'm a little tense. Like no one's getting the flu. I'm not dealing with every person in this family getting the flu. Everyone's taking Tamiflu. I'm like, I get like all like, and then I'm just like, oh, one minute. Seriously, it's not the Tamiflu. It's not even the germ. It's not like, let's be normal. Let's do the best that we can. It's Hashem running through it. It gave me such perspective. And I asked you, I think it was 2 weeks ago, like, how can I bring the Tanya to my kids? Because like here I am learning this, and they're just not. And I said, this is a good moment. So I told my kids, I said, Hashem is running this world. And guess what? Even if you do get sick, that was Hashem's plan. We don't have to be, so you'll get sick. That's what Hashem wants. And like, whew, new change. Like it was like a huge like thing shift in my house. One kid got sick, the rest of them didn't. It was what Hashem wanted. It was okay. Like
It was for you to be able to say that.
Yeah, it was,
Wow.
and my son's like, "What if I'm gonna get the flu?" I said, "Then Hashem wants you to get the flu. It's not so bad. They got the flu, and if you don't get the flu, Hashem didn't want you to get the flu. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter."
The point
was
is,
like-
yeah. The point is that there's not Hashem is on one side
Right.
and we're on the other side,
Right.
and there's a battle over here.
Not a
No,
conflict thing.
there's not.
And it takes away, like you're saying, like a
You're
certain like
fighting,
loyalty,
you're
like
fighting
a,
against it, right?
Hashem, please don't do this. Like, how could you do this? It's not that there's Hashem and there's me.
team. It's like you're saying.
You're on Hashem's team. Hashem, I'm waking up this morning. I am your servant. How can I serve you today?
By the way, the kid that got the flu, 2 days off of school, he really could have used it. Like, you know what I'm saying? In hindsight, like he went back to school very refreshed. I think he's gonna really learn better for the next few weeks. Like he needed 2 days. He's 11-year-old. Take off of school for 2 days.
Right.
And it's okay. It's part of Hashem's plan.
Instead of fighting it, realize that all the challenges and all the things is like a balloon with a lot of air, just burst and finished. You know, it's not significant. It's not the only thing that's significant. The only thing that we have to do in this world is things that are going to reveal Hashem in this world, and everything else is meaningless, and we don't have to worry about it and waste time on it and drive ourselves crazy, because the only thing that matters, the only thing that's significant, the only thing that's real, the only reality is the Eibishter, and everything else is completely and totally insignificant. And yesterday at the class, there's one of the women. She's a photographer, and you know, she's very, very incredible photographer, and she has a photo shoot in California on Monday. So if it snows on Sunday, then it's a opportunity that's going to go down the drain. And she's so nervous. And the other person at the class, she's like, "Oh, she's very into healing. I'll do energy on you to to get rid of the anxiety, whatever it is." And she's so afraid. And these people, they're so important and they're so rich. I was like, how many times did it happen? People were so rich and so important. Look in Venezuela, right? You could be a king sitting in Venezuela, and in 1 second, you're in jail, and your life is everything's over. So there's no one that's all powerful except for Hashem, and the money that this family has, and the looks and that this family has, it's all gifts from Hashem. It's all gifts from Hashem. I have to sit there in front of this client, ridiculous. You know, and they're not Jewish, whatever it is, but to have the pride. It's mincha time. You're outside with a photo shoot. You stand up, you daven mincha. That's what's important. What they're gonna think of me, they're insignificant. Everything is insignificant unless you're aligned with Hashem. Okay, I have to provide for my family, so my husband could sit and learn Torah. That's the ikr. I'm not gonna be shaking in my boots from every client. You know, there's a certain. You know, I'm here to serve Hashem. I'm here to serve Hashem.
Causes happiness and joy and peace. It's really
Tremendous
it brings peace.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that was very, very hard for me to hear, which was that this woman, she says, she says, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, because I was speaking about Inod Mavad, there's nothing other than Hashem. And I don't know, it shook me to the core. She said, I recently got divorced. I didn't want to get divorced. And now people ask me my name. So if you say your name is Hani, that's not good enough, because I have 100 Hanis on my phone. Hani what? People ask me my name. I say, I don't know my name. You could take my phone number. I don't know my name. And she said, and basically she says, I understand what you mean, that you're an Eved of Hashem, you're a servant of Hashem, and you don't even have your own name. You don't even have your own identity. You don't even know who you are. All I am, I don't know why this happened to me. I don't know why this happened to her, but all I am, all I can do is wake up in the morning and be Hashem's servant. She says, I could be Hashem's servant, and I don't even know my name. I don't even know my name. Okay, sorry to end off on that note.
Why can't she choose a last name? I just think that.
She didn't want to lose her married name.
So some people
Why
call
can't you go back
themselves
to
that
other
anyway.
names?
That's what she said. That's what she said.
The confusion. She's in that place of confusion. We'll get there.
She doesn't want to get the name. I don't see, I don't think I think it's more of she using that, I don't know, as more defense, I don't want. Right, that's what I know from that, like, when you say I don't know, it's like, I don't want to face the reality, it's a very common thing when people say, I don't know. She doesn't know, she doesn't want to, she doesn't, not ready to go to where she has to go.
But one thing she knows.
Bonnie, thank you. Have a good
You're
job.
welcome. That's it.
That never changes.
We have to be Eved of Hashem, whether we know our name, we don't know our name,
Too painful to know our name.
It's too painful to know our name.
You're going to different, can I get a ride?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, no, not today.
Oh,
Okay. Okay, thank you for being here.
You could be rushing everywhere.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Esther. Okay. So all the best. Enjoy. Okay.